Welcome to the channel. This is Dr. Keisha. Ask Dr. Keisha all things relationship coaching, dating. Let's get into it. Listen, I'm excited for several reasons. I'm excited because I'm in a new space. I'm grateful mentally and emotionally. And physically, I'm in a new space, and I'm just grateful for what the Lord is doing right now in my life. And I am so ready and I'm super duper excited to share all that I've learned, all that I have been building in terms of information. I'm excited about that. So before we get into the actual topic of this conversation, I want to invite you to be a part of our Ruth and Naomi 10-day challenge. All right. You must be a part of this. I still have my cap on for doing our nonprofit work earlier today. So shout out to STM for community. I still have everything on that I had, because we were in the trenches serving, amen. And I just kept it on. I said, listen, let me go ahead and create some content. Hey, sissy. Welcome, 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 everybody. Love you, Willa. Appreciate you guys for your love and support. So listen, if you're single, if you're beautiful, come on, check the mirror again. That's you. That's you. I'm talking to you, sis. If you are available, if you are ready, you need to sign up for the challenge. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it up real quick because I didn't have a chance to upload it as of yet, but I'm gonna upload it now because I want all my sissies, I want all my sisters in the community, especially, but all of my sisters to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful challenge that we're about to embark upon. And it's affordable. The first day is free. You can't get more affordable than free, 99. Come on, somebody. You can't get more affordable than free. Let me move myself out of the way real quick. Let's see. How can I move me out the way? Let's see how I can just get myself out of here real quick. It's not a lot of options. Okay. I'm sorry. That's my video that we're going to be talking about. Okay. So I think you can see it a little bit. All right. So it's the Ruth and Naomi challenge, right? And it's helping beautiful women like yourself in waiting, right? We want to position you to receive the promise of God, which is marriage. If God promised you marriage, we're here for you, right? We're here for you. You need to register before November the 1st because that is the day of our free session. It's 10 days though. So you're going to have to register for the free one. And then I'll give folks at least up until the free day to decide if they're willing to go through the whole entire challenge. I would encourage you, after all that I've been through and after all that I've discovered and all that I've learned, this coaching, I think you want to receive this. I think God allowed me to literally go through this season of weird experience and dating just so that I can be a support to you. So I'm going to serve as your spiritual Naomi, right? And you are Ruth. And I'm going to help you to get in position so that you can find your Boaz. Oh, yes, I'm here for it. All right. So you're going to have to register. I'm going to provide the information for you. I'll be sure to provide all the information and all the details in the description with regards to this particular challenge. What you can do is you can definitely do this. You can email me. This is probably the best thing to do for right now until we can get everything set up. Ask Dr. Keisha. Go ahead and ask Dr. Go ahead and email. Say, I'm interested in the challenge. Sign me up for the challenge. RSVPing for the challenge. Ruth and Naomi challenge. Hashtag Ruth and Naomi challenge. Okay. All right. Go ahead and email me at askdrkeisha@gmail.com. And when we set up the Eventbrite, we'll send you all the information so you can go ahead and register for the first day and or the 10 days, whatever you feel led to do. But you don't want to miss this, all right? Tell your single friends, please. Single women, especially if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. If you are sick and tired of being sick and tired with this whole dating world, with this whole situation, and you just kind of want to pull back and say, you know what? I don't know what it is that I'm doing wrong, or I don't know what I'm doing right. I don't know. All right, this is for you. This is for you. If everything is cool, everything is chill, but you haven't quite met the one as of yet, you met some decent dudes, but nothing's really landing. This challenge is for you. All right. But especially for those that are just over it, you have dating fatigue, or you're still recovering from the last situationship. You need to sign up for this challenge because I believe the information that we're going to share in this is going to absolutely bless you. One of the things you need to know about me, okay? Yes, I wear many hats, right? But the one that I am anointed in the marketplace is coaching. That is in the marketplace. I'm your girl, okay? I'm a soul coach for a reason, all right? So I'm excited for us. I'm excited for this 10-day challenge and the thing we got to do because we got to put ourselves out there. There's going to be an actual thing that we have to do. It's our assignment at the end of the 10-day. I'm excited for that too. We're going to put ourselves out there. All right. And we're going to attract the right type of situation because we're going to position ourselves in the right field. In the right field. All right. So you want to partner with me on this journey, invest in yourself. You said that's me. Amen, amen. Partner with me, invest in yourself. It's not a whole lot of money. Trust me, it is affordable and it's going to bless you. All right. But the first day is free 99. Everybody should be able to afford that. All right. 1000%. All right. So let's go ahead and transition from that. Let me pull back our slides and let's go right into our conversation for today, which is our conversation for today is my commentary on 5 unacceptable behaviors that should not be tolerated. And this is by Your Brutal Bestie. I love her videos. Shout out to her. I'm going to have in the description an actual link to the whole entire video, but I'm going to provide commentary because I really do believe that this is going to be a blessing to you. All right. So let's go into it. We're going to go ahead and play and then we're going to have the conversation. All right. I'm going to add some coaching to this. All right. So what she's about to write is there are 5 behaviors. Let me go back. 5 behaviors that toxic people use to control and manipulate you. All right. So we're going to talk about the 5 behaviors that toxic people, these are people that we do not want in our life, but we want to be able to identify these toxic folk because they can cloak themselves, they can hide themselves and mask themselves behind some of the good traits that we want and desire. They can hide and mask themselves. So we want to see what really is beneath the surface, what's really the driving force behind what they're trying to do to try to control you, trying to get into your life to manipulate you because they want something from you. They're trying to use you or whatever the case may be, right? These are the people that love the situationships, by the way. These are not people that are intentional. These are not people that were sent by God. These are people that were sent by hell, all right, to confuse you, to damage you, so that you to delay, right, to delay you from connecting from your purpose partner. Because if you happen to connect with the person that you're purpose for and you're not ready to receive them because you can't really see them, you're not ready to receive them because you can't even identify who they really are because you're so messed up mentally and emotionally, you're just over it, right? And so you can sabotage your destiny if you're not careful by continuously dealing with toxic people. Will damage you, wear you out, wear you down, and potentially damage you to the point where you hijack your own destiny. All right. So we want to know what these things are, these behaviors. We want to be able to identify them so that when we see them in these folks, right, or the people that are currently in our life or people that we're going to meet, we know it's a no for me. All right. We know it's a no for me, right? This is not going to work. Or this person was not sent by God, was sent by the other one. All right. And so we don't want that in our lives. So let's go into it. I'm excited. Feel free to take notes. I'm going to be taking notes. I'm going to be contributing to, again, our description section so that folks will have a general summary and maybe some bullet points so that we can actually list what the 5 behaviors are, so that you can go back and replay it as often as possible so that you can get it good and in your spirit, so that you are no longer manipulated or controlled anymore in the dating space and relationship space. All right. Are we ready? All right, let's go. And if you're tolerating any of these,
You're slowly giving away your power, your peace of mind, and your self respect. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what these behaviors look like, why people use them, and most importantly, how to stop tolerating them starting right now. Let's dive in. Your boundaries are not suggestions, they're non negotiable lines that protect your mental health, your energy, and your well being. But here's the problem: many of us have been conditioned to tolerate behaviors that we should never accept. We make excuses, we rationalize, and we convince ourselves that it's not that bad. But it is that bad, and it's time to stop settling for less than you deserve. The first unacceptable behavior is gaslighting. This is when someone manipulates you into questioning your own reality, memory, or perceptions. They'll say things like, "That never happened. You're being too sensitive," or "You're imagining things." Here's what gaslighting looks like in real life. You clearly remember having a conversation about something important, but they insist it never happened.
Now, here's the thing, and she talks about boundaries in the beginning. Every person, it doesn't matter whether the relationship is romantic or platonic, we should all have some boundaries. And the boundaries are there to protect us. All right. You know where you are mentally. You should know where you are emotionally, right? And so the boundaries are there to protect you. That's what they're there for. And if a person cannot respect those boundaries, that means that they were not set by the Almighty, and or they have some areas that they need to grow. Okay. And so therefore you should limit your interactions with people that do not respect your boundaries, or you deal with them as need, because there are some people, unfortunately, that we cannot eliminate out of our lives, like family members, our children. Okay. These are people that we can't not necessarily eliminate them altogether out of our lives, but we have to teach people how to treat us. All right. We have to love ourselves enough to set those boundaries to say, okay, no, you know what I mean? This is something that I will not tolerate. Okay. No, this is not fair to me. All right. And so it's beyond saying no. It's again having a set things, and they're going to talk about some of these unacceptable behaviors. These things I will not tolerate. That is the boundary that we are setting with regards to love, relationships, life in general. These are behaviors I will not tolerate, period. All right. We have to make that decision today, and then we have to implement it in everyday practice, all right, in our day to day. All right, so here we go again: gaslighting. It's people telling you something, they're just trying to deceive you, manipulate you into believing, right, that something that did happen, something that was said, was not said, right? They're trying to flip it, make you the villain, make you the person that's causing the confusion, making you the bad guy, and not taking accountability for the things that they have said or done. All right.
You express hurt about their actions, and they tell you you're overreacting. You bring up a pattern of behavior, and they make you feel crazy for noticing it. Gaslighting is psychological manipulation designed to make you doubt yourself so they can maintain control. The moment someone tries to rewrite your reality, that's your cue to trust yourself and set a firm boundary. Your experiences are valid, your feelings are real, and anyone who tries to convince you otherwise doesn't deserve access to.
Folks that say to you, no, you didn't say that. Yeah, I did. I did say that. You stand firm. You don't have to scream. You don't have to yell. You don't have to holler. You know what I mean? You don't have to get out of character, but you can firmly say, no, yeah, that is something that I said. hmm That is something that I believe, and you should respect it. And if they continue to push back, you say, you know what? I don't think this is going anywhere. God bless you. I think it's time that we go our separate ways. Or, you know what? It's probably best that we not communicate. We have to draw the line, and we have to draw a firm line when it comes to stuff like that. And again, I want to overemphasize the importance of identifying this, because there are times when we're so scarred and so traumatized by relationship or dating that we can think that someone's doing this when they're not, or they could very well be right. because there are times when we twist people's words and we kind of interpret what they're saying without actually stating what actually has been said. So that can happen too. So there's no gray to this, but what can happen is you can distort conversations, especially if you're wounded and if you've been traumatized. And you have to know yourself in this. You have to be true to yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, with where you are, whether it's a you problem or it's a they problem, them problem, him problem, her problem, whether it's a y'all problem. It's about being honest and being real with yourself and then going from there. All right. If you don't know, that's okay. You can just take a pause to try to figure it out, or even step away, because maybe it's like, if I can't even discern the difference between normal behavior and gaslighting, what is true and what is false, if I can't even discern that because I'm so messed up, or that I need healing because I'm so scarred from my previous relationship, it's time to take a time out. Take a time out from dating. Take a time out from interacting with people romantically, and just be with you for a moment so that you can heal and get yourself together, all right, and recollect and be empowered in this season, right, through the challenge and all the things that we're going to be doing to build up ourselves, so that when it's time for you to get back out there, which I believe it's going to be time for you to get back out there soon, you will be armed, you will be prepared, you will be ready, all right, you'll be ready. All right, let's go to the next.
Should never be tolerated is chronic disrespect.
Now, I think some of us don't know what chronic disrespect is. So I really want us to take an inventory, social inventory, with the people that we interact with on a regular basis, and to discern and to decipher whether there is chronic disrespect, whether you're a recipient of chronic disrespect, or whether you are the person that is the one that is guilty of chronic disrespect. Okay, let's take an inventory, and then however, whether it's coming from you or coming at you. All right, let's make some adjustments, because we don't want to be that toxic friend either, right? We don't want to be the toxic partner either. All right, so let's get ourselves together. All right, so let us take notes. What is chronic disrespect?
This isn't about occasional disagreements or bad days. This is about a consistent pattern of treating you as less than. Chronic disrespect shows up as interrupting you constantly, dismissing your opinions, making decisions that affect you without consulting you, showing up late repeatedly without apology, or speaking to you in a condescending tone. Here's what you need to understand. Respect isn't earned through perfection. Respect is the baseline for any healthy relationship.
All right, that part. Respect is the baseline. All right. If you don't have respect, friends, you don't have a healthy relationship. All right. And that's any relationship. You don't have a healthy one. So respect is the foundation of any relationship. You got to respect each other, but you got to have self-respect first. So learning to respect yourself, and then you can hold other people accountable when the respect isn't there, or the respect has somehow been violated. All right. That's the baseline.
If someone can't offer you basic respect, they're showing you exactly how they value you. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. The hard truth, you teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Every time you accept disrespect without consequence, you're sending the message that this behavior is acceptable. It's not.
So how do you
The third
how do you hold them accountable? How do you hold them accountable? By calling it out. Let's go back to some of the ones that she made mention. Let's go back.
The second behavior that should never be tolerated is chronic disrespect. This isn't about occasional disagreements or bad days. This is about a consistent pattern of treating you as less than.
Treating you less than.
Chronic disrespect shows up as interrupting you constantly.
Have you ever been in a conversation with someone that you're interested in and you can't get a word in edgewise? It can be the basic of conversation, or it can be just a minor disagreement, or just the fact that you both, we have different perspectives and you're trying to share what it is that you think, and they cut you off, totally disregard what you feel or think. They don't care to know. There was somebody that literally said in a conversation, I said, "Do you mind what I think?" No. They told me outright, "Nope, nope, I don't really care to hear it." The audacity, right? That was blatant. But there are some things that people do that it's not easily picked up because it happens so frequently that it becomes normal. So the mere fact that you can't have an adult conversation expressing your thoughts and feelings without feeling that somehow you're starting World War V. If you interject or mention, I don't know quite, it escalates. The moment you share your thoughts, if they don't align with their thoughts, or the moment you share your feelings, it's a whole big to do because it doesn't line up with what they feel or how they feel. All right. So if someone is cutting you off, you simply say, "Excuse me, I'll talk when you're finished." I'll talk when, excuse me, you say, "Excuse me, I'll talk when you're finished." That's the first. And then after you said, before you say what, when the person, "Oh, no, 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 go ahead." Well, you're interrupting me. I don't know if you're aware, but you keep interrupting me, and I would love to finish my thought. Okay. That is the adult way of, "Excuse me, I will, excuse me, if you don't mind, when you're finished, I'll say what, you know, I'll say what I need to say, or I'll say my part." And they'll be like, "Okay." So they're gonna talk, 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 talk. And then if they keep talking for too long, you say, "I'm sorry, excuse me again. Do you mind if I interject? Do you mind if I interject? Do you mind if I say something? I would love to speak on that." All right. And then when, before you speak on it, say, "Oh, no, no, it's okay." Say, "You know what? You keep interrupting me. I don't know if you're aware of that, but you won't allow me to finish my thought." Okay. Bring that to your attention. If it continues to happen, then this is not someone that you can really build something with, because without that mutual respect, friend, it's just not gonna work. So whatever that is, why they're so eager to cut you off, and it's so interesting because the person that kept doing it was like, "I hate when people do that to me." So why is it that you're doing it to me? What are you trying to prove? It's almost like he's trying to dominate, or he was trying to dominate the conversation in order to prove something. Okay. Or he was trying to push the envelope to see how far he can go in blatant disrespect, to try to teach me, right? To teach me, or to mold me in a certain type of way. So you really have to be careful of that. Hold a moment.
Missing your opinions, making decisions that affect you without consulting you, showing up late repeatedly without apology, or speaking to you in a condescending tone. Here's what you need to
Okay, showing up late and speaking to you in a condescending tone. And there was another one.
you, showing up late repeatedly without apology,
Hold on.
or dismissing your opinions, making decisions that affect you without consulting
Making decisions that affect you without consulting you. Showing up
you,
late
showing up late repeatedly without apology, or speaking to you in a condescending tone.
or speaking in a condescending tone. Hold on just a moment. All right. Hold on in just a moment. All right. Let's hold on just a second. I'm back. I was cooking some cabbage. All right. It's super late. Listen. So, how are we enjoying the video thus far? A lot of information to unpack, but good. And again, how they speak to you, all of these things, all these nuances, you need to see, you need to Identify. You need to be honest with yourself, because I think sometimes we can want something or someone, we can want something, a relationship, want something, a marriage, want something, an engagement, want something so bad where we just dismiss, disregard, or we turn a blind eye to it, or want someone so bad that we dismiss it, or we turn a blind eye to it, or we don't see it. But our friends see it if they're honest. Our family see it if they're honest. Coworkers may see it. Associates may see it, but we're blind to it because we want the thing or that person so bad, we're willing to look over it. And I'm telling you, if you start out that way, that relationship is just doomed to fail, okay? Or that person is not your person, clearly. If they're not willing to, and I'm not saying that everybody that comes into the relationship are not going to come with their set of challenges, problems, areas of that they need growth and all the things. Yes, I believe that because of where we are, depending on our age, depending on our experience, that there's going to be nuances with each and every person that we have an encounter with. But if a person is not willing to make the adjustments, that part, if they're not willing to do the work, if they're not willing to alter, that's the main thing, hold themselves accountable and alter the behavior. If they're not willing to do that, then this is not someone that you can't partner with long term. If they're not willing to respect you at the basic of levels, that this is not someone that you can make a covenant with, all right? Because it's just simply not going to work.
Here's what you need to understand. Respect isn't earned through perfection. Respect is the baseline for any healthy relationship. If someone can't offer you basic respect, they're showing you exactly how they value you. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. The hard truth, you teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Every time you accept disrespect without consequence, you're sending the message that this behavior is acceptable. It's not. The third unacceptable behavior is emotional manipulation. This is when someone uses your emotions against you to get what they want. They might use guilt trips, emotional blackmail.
Guilt trips, emotional blackmail, again, manipulation through emotions.
Or play the victim to avoid accountability.
Play the victim.
Emotional manipulators are masters at phrases like, if you really loved me, you would.
Okay. That's usually the tagline. If you really love me, you'll give me some, right? If you really love me, you'll give me some money. If you really love me, you'll give me some sex. If you really love me, you won't wait. If you really love me, whatever your boundary was, you're going to allow me to cross over that boundary. If you love me, you'll let me do this to you and you'll forgive me. No, I can still forgive you and not be your doormat. I can still forgive you and you not be allowed into my life, or me compromise my core values. If you're asking me to, I can say no and still love you, right? So don't allow for somebody to manipulate you, friend. Please don't. My sister, please do not allow for them to play with your emotions. They know that you love them. They know that you care. They know that you have a big heart. They know that you like to give. You'll give your right arm if somebody needed it. So they're taking you for granted. Friends, please, please don't allow somebody to play in your face like that. Please don't allow it. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. All right, so let us continue. This is a relatively short video. We'll get through it quickly.
I guess I'm just a terrible person then. You're the only one who can help me. Or, I don't know what I'll do if you don't. They weaponize your empathy and compassion. They make you feel responsible for their emotions while completely disregarding yours. They turn every conversation about their behavior into a pity party about their struggles. Here's the reality check you need. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions.
Can we say that together? I am not responsible for managing other people's emotions. It is their job to regulate their own emotions, and it's your job to regulate your own. We all got stuff. right? We all got our stuff. We all got our challenges. Your problems are not my problems. And I'm speaking to those that are single, and I'm speaking to those that are in waiting, and you might be dating, but you haven't met somebody that's suitable as of yet. And the people that you've been meeting have been using these tactics against you. And it's time that we put our foot down and we set firm boundaries, because no more, no more. All right. So let that get into your psyche, let that get into your spirit, let it sizzle, because you need to understand that you're not responsible for managing other people's anything, unless that person is assigned to you like your child. Then yeah, that's different. That's a child, and that is a child, not an adult child. That is a dependent child. That's different in terms of managing their life. But even their emotions, it's not your responsibility to manage anybody's emotions. They have to learn to manage their own. So you're not responsible for managing, nor are you responsible for what comes out of them emotionally. Oh, you made me angry. No, friend. No, friend. Now, I'm not saying that people can't do certain things to try to provoke you and that sort of thing. It's true. But the emotions that you have and the emotions that you express are yours to manage. And then what you do with those emotions is also your responsibility. The Bible says, in this context, when dealing with the emotions, to be angry and sin not. You know what that tells me? That tells me that you have the ability to choose what you do after you feel what you feel. That even in the midst of anger, you can choose not to act out. You can choose not to snap. Now, I'm not saying stuff can't pile up until the point where you don't have no regulation anymore because you're just so over it. You know what I'm saying? To the point where you've reached your limit. You have zero capacity to even we can get there. But even with that, we still have to take accountability for our actions and our behavior. If you know that you're tapping out and you don't have any more to give, then you need to have systems in place that say, you know what, I don't have the capacity for that. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what, I think this is not a good time for me. Or, you know what, I'm just going to walk away from this situation because I know where it's going. You got to have a plan in place, right? Until you can get to the point where you can hear someone, you can be in a situation, you can experience something, and still take responsible for managing your feelings and actions. All right.
You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. And anyone who tries to manipulate your emotions to control your actions is not someone who has your best interests at heart. The fourth behavior is boundary violation. This happens when someone repeatedly ignores or dismisses the limits you've set. You tell them no, and they keep pushing. You ask for space, and they bombard you with messages. You say you're not comfortable with something, and they do it anyway. Boundary violators often disguise their behavior as care or love. They'll say things like, I'm just worried about you. I know what's best for you. Or, I'm only trying to help. But real love respects boundaries. Real care honors your autonomy. Some people will test your boundaries to see if you'll enforce them. They'll push a little bit here, cross the line a little bit there, and gradually train you to accept more and more violation. This is not accidental. This is strategic. Your boundaries are not up for negotiation.
Okay, there was a boundary that I've set in dating. And this is a rule that I think all you women, all you beautiful women of God should keep as a boundary. I can share it with you. You can borrow it, incorporate it as your own, okay? One of the boundaries that I've set is that I will not give men money. I will not give men money. I will not help them financially. If they're not my spouse, I will not give them money when they ask for it. If I give it of my own, even with that, I'm very careful. But if a man asks me for money specifically, or if he's alluding that he needs help and he's trying to, he almost expect for me to come out of my pocket for something, I don't engage. I do not engage. That is a rule. And there was a time when I dated somebody and I felt in my heart and spirit, he's going to ask me for money. He's going to ask me for money. Now, what was interesting about that particular situation was at a certain point, I forgot exactly when in the process of us getting to know each other, he shared that he lost his job. And then he got into specifics where he says he quit his job. So he lost a job, quit his job. He no longer had a job, but he had a business, right? Where he was, finally, being inspired to go full throttle, full time in his business. So he's trying to figure that out, but he's not obviously making consistent money. He may be making money here and there, but not consistently. So he did share that with me. Felt bad for him, right? As we should. We're humans. We know the struggle, right? So I was like, oh, okay, wow, that's interesting. So what I would do is when opportunity would present itself, I would try to, because funny thing is that he had a very similar platform like I have. He did coaching, and he also was a minister, so he would do ministry. And so there were times where, no times, every time he ministers, he always asks people to give. Now, I don't have an issue with asking people to give, because if the Lord is inspiring you to do that, or if you're actually helping people, then why not? You should sow into that ministry, you should sow into that person. But he was a person where he did that every time he came online. He always asked for money. Okay, again, that's whatever, right? So when I would come in, because I knew his situation, I would sow something, right, of my own. Now, looking back at it, hindsight being 2020, I feel like I was low key being manipulated, because he knew from observation that I had a big heart and that I was a giver, right? And so he told me that information, knowing full well that when he did ask for money on his live or whatever, that I would more than likely give because he had a need. All right, so that happened. One day, out of the blue, he asked me, he's like, wow, this client, paid the wrong person and blah, 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 whatever the excuse was. And so, I could use some money and da 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 da, can I borrow some money, or can I have or whatever? And I was like, because in my heart, I was like, please don't ask me for no money. Please don't ask me for no money, because that's my boundary. And the reason why it was my boundary is because I call myself being in another dating situation with the person that said to me, hey, can you sow into my business? Because if you're my wife, then my wife supports my vision. And so you should sow into my business. If you're my wife, you should sow $200. And so I was a little perplexed, because I'm like, well, the jury is still out on me being your wife or not. So why am I having to sow into your business? And why are you putting this demand on me to do it? This is another previous situation. But you know what? Because I cared about the person, and, sometimes fear comes on us and it makes us do things that we wouldn't rationally do, right? The fear of, I don't want this person to move on, or I don't want this person to think that I'm not wife material. So even though I really didn't have it, I had it, but I was a single mother at the time. My money was funny, but at the time I did have a few dollars that did come in, that I said, okay, well, maybe I'll make a sacrifice and I'll sow into this person's business. Child, the previous situation, I asked him, I said, well, why did you do that? And I said, I think you should give that money back. He said, oh, I'm not. He refused to give it back. And then he had did another situation where he claimed I was visiting him, because we were both dating long distance or what have you. And so when I came into town that weekend to visit him for us to hang out and everything, he said he was going to take care of my hotel and all the stuff, right? Come to find out, I checked out. He said, oh, I'll make sure that, the bill is taken care of. He said, just go ahead and put the card on your room. So I did. He turned in the keys and he told them to go ahead and bill the card that's on file, knowing it was my card. So that other guy did not pay for the room like he said he was going to do, took my 200 something dollars that he claimed that a wife should sow into his business. So from that situation, I promised in my heart, I promised myself that I will not give a man money. If he asks me for money, the answer is no. So now we have this other dating situation, dating this person. Okay, as long as he doesn't ask, I'll help out. But I'm even rethinking that at this point. If a man is struggling financially and he's supposed to be a provider and he's supposed to show himself to be a provider, but he's struggling from the onset of that relationship that you're trying to develop, To me, that's showing me that either he's not a good steward of the resources that he has, and he's not ready for dating or marriage right now. He needs to go resolve that, take care of that, take himself off the market, and focus on building himself up so that he can properly position himself as a Boaz or as the man of God that he claims that he's supposed to be. And I get it. There's some people that fall on hard times, but they're not going to put you in a situation where you're their engine number 9, if that makes sense, right? Because yes, I heard a testimony recently. I think it was Prophetess Sophia Ruffin, and she and her husband, her now husband, he was going through a divorce, or he just got out of a marriage. And I don't know exactly how long he was out of the marriage, but you know, when you, especially when you're you just come out of the divorce or you've been divorced, that's a reset. Everything is a reset. Your money is funny because it's going into 2 different households, because you're having to pay maybe spousal support, maybe child support. You know, you're trying to take care of some business and resolve some things, so you're being pulled in different directions financially. So you're really having to reimagine yourself. You're really having to reinvent yourself. You're really having to evolve during that process. Well, how do I know? Because I've been there, right? For those of us that have been divorced, you know what I'm talking about. It is a death of one, and it's a re-entry and a birth of another in terms of you as a person. And so I get that. But I will say that he never asked Sophia for the money. When he was trying to date her, he got it from somebody else. He did share with her, I'm here, I'm trying to get this and that. And whatever she chose to do, fine. But it was after they crossed over that threshold where she became his fiance. And then eventually they became married, and then they became partners. But this person that is so-called trying to vet you, y'all just entering into the dating sphere, trying to see if you're going to date or not. You don't even know. You're in a gray area. You're trying to figure out whether you're going to date. You haven't even met yet, and they're asking for money. Okay, person asked for money. I said to this person, unfortunately, it is a rule that I've set that I don't give men money that ask. And they're like, oh, wow, okay, no problem, no problem. And it made me feel funny. And I'm like, oh, and it prompted me to look into him. So I did a background check. That's another story for another day. I'm going to do a full video, okay, sharing my testimony, sharing exactly what I experienced in the dating world, so that you ladies can beware of all the little things, all the things that these people do to try to manipulate you into giving them, using you, and etc. Okay. All right, we're going to go into that. That'll be a separate video. So to make a long story short, the person asked for money again. We're talking about boundaries. The person asked for money again. And so they said, oh, I really need it. And this was surrounded around, we were supposed to have connected. We were supposed to have, and the person made a hotel reservation, which again, this is triggering, right? Because remember, I just told you there was another situation where a man claimed he was going to take care of the hotel and did not, and end up putting it on my card, which he should not have, and end up being my responsibility. And so this time, this other person was supposed to take care of the hotel, or at least reserve it. I didn't ask him to. I was going to take care of my own hotel, to be honest with you. But he took it upon himself to get the hotel and all the things, right? And then he's saying, you know what, this is not a good time. You know, I think that, you know, something happened where it's like, you know, I feel, you know, maybe we should plan something a little bit more, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like I said, I'll go into the full story so I can provide context. So what he said was, oh, you know, they charged you the card, and, you know, now, you know, I could really use that money back. If you can just give me $85, I'll pay you back. Okay, so he tried me again, right? The boundary. You know, I'm sorry, you know, I could use the money because I really could use I could need to get my hair cut. So because he kept pushing, and I knew his situation, right? He made sure that I knew his situation. He said, you know, and I'm going to be honest with you. The hotel said that they were going to give me my money back. So I'm going to get my money back. So, you know, you don't have to worry about it. As soon as they make that credit, I'll give you the money back. right? This is what he said. I promise I will give you the money back. And so I cashed after him the money. But he manipulated me. Okay. He manipulated me into doing that. And he made sure that he crossed that boundary.
They're not starting points for a debate. When someone consistently violates your boundaries, they're telling you that their wants are more important than your comfort, your safety, and your well being. The fifth and final behavior is consistent unreliability. This is when someone repeatedly fails to follow through on their commitments, promises, or responsibilities.
Okay. Here, same thing in the dating sphere. Repeated offenders. This is what we're making reference to, a repeated offender. Okay. This is a person that is constantly telling you they're going to do something and they're not going to follow through. And there's the emotional aspect that's also connected to this. All right. So they repeatedly fail to follow through on their commitments, their promises, or responsibilities. Okay. Let me give you this. She's going to walk it through, but I'm going to tell you another repeat fail. I'm the type of person in life that generally gives a person 3 chances. That is my boundary also. These are rules and boundaries that I have. They may not even be aware of it, but I know, right? 3 chances. The other person, 3 chances. The same person, the last person, that kept pushing the boundary with borrowing the money after I said that it's a rule that I have, it's a boundary that I have. This same person, they made a commitment. They made a commitment, and for whatever the reason, this person was, they were MIA regarding the commitment. And it was more than a commitment, it was a responsibility because it had to do with ministry, right? They were MIA, couldn't find them, try to reach out, nowhere to be found. And I mentioned something in a text message saying, I was prepared to give you an offering. Girl, you know what? They showed up. All of a sudden, they answered the phone. All of a sudden, they were available. Okay. On that day, after that time, you couldn't find them. The moment I mentioned, hey, I was gonna give you something for participating on the platform, they showed up. Okay, they showed up. Pop, boop, disappeared. All right. Okay, but the day that they were scheduled to do what they were supposed to do, they were nowhere to be found. All right. Nowhere to be found. It wasn't until after that time that they were supposed to, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I didn't realize it. Oh, whatever. I tried to talk to them about the day and try to get, oh no, we can talk about another day. Wasn't available. Let down, right? Wasn't a good example of someone that can follow through, someone that is serious. Poor example. But they apologized since it was the first time I get, and not only did they apologize, they said, oh no, let's do it tomorrow. Can we do it tomorrow? Can we do it the next day? I'll make sure. I promise. Okay. So they did come through the next day. It was shaky, but they did come through the next day, and they underwhelmed and underperformed, right? Underwhelmed and underperformed because they did not take it seriously. The second time, again, in terms of follow through on their commitment, there was a time when we set up to meet each other. Okay. Money was spent, preparation, time, all the things. And the last minute, they decide to cancel. The last thing, 3, made another commitment. This time, same thing. Last minute canceled about an hour before I was supposed to have left to do ministry. They canceled last minute. I'm reaching out to them, and in the days approaching the date that we were supposed to connect and go to this gala or whatever we were supposed to go to, I'm reaching out. Hey, just checking in. How are things? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, send a text. Hey, nothing. Did not respond. It was literally silence, radio silence for the days leading up to the date. And funny thing is that when I did have a conversation with them, maybe like 3 days before the date, I said, we called me really super early in the morning time. With me, especially for those of me, I'm a lay person. So I'm not cognizant in the morning. So if somebody was to call me, even though I picked up and said hello, I wasn't fully alert, but I was alert enough They say, "Oh, you see, yeah, that's great. You're sleepy. You need rest. Okay, I don't want to disturb you." I said, "I just have one question for you." I was alert enough to ask the one question. The one question I asked, I said, "Are we still on for this date, this time?" "Oh yeah, sure." Days after that, radio silence. I didn't hear from them. I reached out, I called, I text, I messaged through social media, nothing. It wasn't until an hour before I left, no, the actual time that I was leaving to go out to do ministry, that they reached out with a poor excuse as to why they did not reach out before and that they were canceling yet again a commitment that they had made. Saying all that to say, 3 times you're out. 3 times you're out. If a person repeatedly fails to come through on a commitment, a promise, or responsibility, you know it's integrity issue. You know it's an integrity issue.
They cancel plans last minute, don't show up when they say they will, or promise to change but never do. Unreliable people train you to have low expectations. They condition you to be grateful for the bare minimum. They make you feel like you're asking too much when you expect them to do what they said they would do.
Right. And the funny thing is that I think the person was calling and they would literally call like, "Hey, how you doing?" "I'm good." Now, this is a person that literally said that they loved me. Like the conversation previously, "Oh, I love you." I'm going to give the full testimony, guys, because you need to hear it. This is all for learning purposes. Okay, the person says they love me. I didn't respond back. I said, "Oh, but oh wow, I'm so what? Oh my goodness, are you for real? Seriously?" That was my response. I didn't say it back. And in the days to come, there was some conversation with regards to feelings, and I was like, "I think I'm falling for you, and da da da. I love this about you, and it's all the things, right?" And he was like, "No, you don't." And I found it interesting because with me, it's not just the word alone. I'm looking at behavior. I'm looking at what you do that really tells the story. It either confirms it or denies it. And his actions afterwards was not in alignment with what he was saying. And I brought that to his attention. I said, "Well, here's the thing. You were questioning me, but I'm low key not seeing behavior that matches what you said to me, right? A few days ago." And so he's like, "Oh, well, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "Well, here's the thing. Like, unless your actions match up with your words, it cancels out. It's null and void, like none and void. You can't null and void. You can't say one thing and then do another. Like, no, somebody's going to judge you based on not what you say, but what you're doing. Right. And so you got to be careful of that. But he was like, just like, "No, you don't feel the way you feel." I'm like, "I'm doing more than you." And so I'm like, "Well, here's the thing. If you're just calling me and you're just giving me the bare minimum, like you're literally saying, you're not telling me anything. You're just literally saying, 'Hey, how are you?' 'I'm good.' 'Okay, good.' 'Okay, so I'll talk to you later.' Every time you call me, that's not acceptable to me from a person that literally poured out his heart like a couple of days ago." I found it weird. I found it strange. I found it incongruent. I found it in not an alignment. It didn't make sense to me. And the beauty of that is to say, when you have your previous experience, right? Being in love in the relationship space, in the dating space, and you were treated well, you were treated with care, you were treated kindly, you got something to compare it to. So when someone gives you the bare minimum, or whatever they're giving you low key is non-existent, even though they're claiming this and that, but it's not quite matching their words, you have to know what time it is. So allow that truth, that's really coming forth out of the inaction or the things that they're doing that is not in alignment with your core values. Allow that to speak the truth, because it is speaking a truth, but you got to see it for what it is. But this person is really not what they should be. All right.
Reliability isn't about perfection, it's about consistency and communication. Reliable people don't promise what they can't deliver, and when life happens, they communicate openly and make it right.
Perfect. So for the person that could not meet on that day because they claimed that it was a health issue or whatever, Didn't have a problem with them canceling. That was an issue. It was all the times, all the 3 times that I reached out and there was no inaction. 3 times I made an attempt to reach out and to communicate. There was no communication. And then to add insult to injury, when they did call and claim that they didn't call and speak to me directly. They left a message. And then the next thing I saw was the next thing, I think that evening or the next day, they had did a live. And when I saw them on the live and how they were so like energetic, it did not match up with the excuse that they provided, right? Especially with a person that had I have a back injury. I've had issues with my spine, issues with nerve damage, and all the things imaginable with my spine and with the nerve damage in my legs and stuff, right? So the pain that I've experienced and or am experiencing is indescribable. So you're not going to see me jumping up and down on a live or whatever if I'm suffering like that. And I'm going to communicate with the person, especially if the person's communicating with me, because more than likely we all probably sleep next to our phone. So even if you're laying down taking meds and you're resting, you will see the text eventually. That's 3 days where you can at least text and say, you know what, I'm not feeling my best. It's looking like we're not going to be able to connect. And I feel so sorry about that. You could have connected. You could have relayed that information a couple of days prior to the event. But no, you left me with the understanding the last time we spoke, we're moving forward with this. And then on the day of, you opt out. Mind you, I'm buying stuff. I'm preparing myself because we're going to something that is, you know what I mean? We're going out in public. And so, no, it's not considerate. It's lacking in consideration. Okay. So again, and I know that it's not me. A lot of women are experiencing this, and we're that disappointment on top of disappointment, the disrespect on top of disrespect, what to put up with, especially in the Christian, right, dating world, and people that claim to be lovers of God and Christ, right, believers. We women have to have our priorities in order, and we have to have our boundaries intact. And we got to be able to see these things for what they are and hold people accountable and not allow for people to walk over us. All right. Again, it's the lack of communication was the issue. It wasn't necessarily the calling out or the canceling or whatever. We're grown. We can always make plans. There'll always be another opportunity to do something, Lord willing and permit. It's your lack of consideration. And this wasn't the first offense. This was like number 4, technically. But I'm labeling it as 3 since it was a big one.
Here's your action plan. Identify which of these behaviors you're currently tolerating in your life. Choose one relationship where you need to set stronger boundaries. Have that conversation this week. Remember, you're not being mean by having standards.
You're not being mean, friends. That's your action plan. Have the conversation and or make a decision that you don't want to continue on with this relationship because the person is a habitual line stepper. If they're habitual, then you know. And if it's not even, especially if it's a relatively new relationship, it's not even worth establishing. If this is somebody that you've been in relationship for quite some time, but you're noticing patterns of inconsistencies and patterns of inconsiderate behavior, then maybe you can give them a chance because you've built and formed a relationship, and maybe it's worth preserving. Maybe, depending on their willingness to respect your boundaries. But don't feel like I can't tell them what my boundary is because for fear I'm going to lose them. If you tell them your boundary and you do it in a respectable way, and they choose to disconnect from you and they choose to walk away, you should rejoice, because that's the type of person you don't want in your life, because it's not a relationship that is healthy, and it's a transactional one for sure. It's a transactional relationship. It's whatever they can get from you. And the moment they can't get something from you, it's a transactional relationship. You don't want that type of relationship, not in this season, sis. You want a reciprocal relationship. You want a relationship where they're going to be giving as well as receiving. Okay. That's the type of relationship that you want, because that's the type of person that you are. Okay. So no, don't think of it as you being mean, you're being controlling, because you're simply telling them this is what I can't tolerate. This is not acceptable. These are my core values. These are my boundaries. If they really care about you, number one, they should have their own. And you can have that conversation. It's not just about me. Do you have any boundaries? What are your core values? Are we in alignment? Like, let's figure that out. If it's worth making it work. But again, if they're not willing and if they take offense and all the things, then you know what time it is.
Being healthy. Your peace of mind is not negotiable. Your self-respect is not optional. And you have every right to remove yourself from situations and relationships that consistently violate these principles.
Amen to that, sister. Amen to that. All right. So that pretty much concludes my commentary. I'm super duper excited about the Ruth and Naomi challenge. I feel really fueled and really empowered to share a whole lot of wisdom with regards to dating and relationships. So please make sure that you register for the Ruth and Naomi challenge. Let me bring it up again. Again, shout out to Your Brutal Bestie. I love her videos because they're very poignant, but they are truthful, they're honest, and they're really great tools, especially for those of us that we're trying to figure out this thing called dating. It's a different animal. It is a different situation in 2025. It is not the same. For those of us that are over 40, this is not the dating that we are accustomed to. This is not the world that we are accustomed to. So we're having to unlearn and to relearn how to be in this day and age when it comes to dating and relationships. Okay. So again, if you are interested in signing up for the Ruth and Naomi challenge, again, just a few things. Let me pull it up on my, preferably the thing is up real quick. This is by way of announcements. Shout out for you all's patience. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Willa. Those again of you all that are single, yeah, you need to sign up for this. The first day is free, and trust me, the first day is going to be so power packed that you're going to want to sign up for the remaining 9 days. You're not going to want to miss out. Trust me, you're not. All right, so let me go ahead and pull this up really quickly so that I'll give you a glimpse. Let's see. A little glimpse of what it is that we're going to be dealing with. Okay, so, all right, so this is the Ruth and Naomi. Let me position this properly. Let's see, let me do better. That's not it. Friends, y'all know I'll be having a hard time with this thing because they keep adding new stuff. All right, so with the Ruth and Naomi, the 10-day virtual challenge, it starts in November the 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe that's a Saturday night. The theme, again, is we're helping beautiful women of God in waiting position for God's promise. Okay, that's the purpose. Day one, we're going to deal with healing from the trauma of dating and etc. That's free. Second day is empowerment. The next day is acknowledging your values and worth, self-love, self-discovery, your purpose, needs, wants, and desires, expectations. Again, we're setting expectations, identifying what is realistic and unrealistic in dating and relationships, confidence. We're talking about building confidence, being content, and also preparing and becoming. We're going to talk more about that, and alignment. And then we have an assignment. Okay, we have an assignment. So you don't want to miss the opportunity to register for this event because I know that it's going to bless you. I really do. Okay. I really do. All right. So I'm super duper excited. I'm going to also do my testimony video. I just need to share the whole story so that you women can, again, be equipped with the type of men that are showing up in this day and age. They're showing up a little bit different and they're trying to cloak themselves as men of God, but they lack integrity and they lack the love of God in Christ, because there's no way you can truly have the love of God in your heart and treat people the way that you do. There's no way. No way. Not the perfected love. You may have a pseudo love. You may have what you think to be love or whatever, but your driving force is self and selfishness, not selflessness. And just like women have to be found, the Bible says that he that finds a wife, right? We have to be found as wives. So that's a part of the Ruth and Naomi challenge. We're trying to be ready, right? We're trying to be ready. And so guess what? These men have to be found as husbands. When they find us as wives, they have to be presented as husbands. And so if they're not ready to be husbands, then hence the problem. And what I find problematic, and this is the last thought, what I find problematic with men, especially in the relationship space and coaching, is when there's too much conversation about what a woman should do and not enough conversation about what a man should do. I find that imbalanced. I find it problematic. And I find that the person that are trying to dictate what women should do are oftentimes people that are not in alignment with what a man should do. Okay. So I find that problematic. There should always be balance. Okay. There should always be balance. And if they're trying to give you a little bit of truth about their little skeletons, they're not giving you the full story. All right. But we're going to set the record straight. So I'm going to do a video. I'm going to probably pre-record it because I really, really prefer just to share it without doing a whole lot of interactions, because us women need to be warned of of the wolves that are out there in sheep clothing. There's a lot of wolves out there that are presenting to be the man of God, presenting to be Boaz, presenting to be ready, and they are not. They are there just to be a distraction. They are there just to use you and to get what they can get from you, but they are not. They're not ready, and they're not willing to do what's right by you. They're not, and they know that they're not ready. And if you know that you're not ready, why are you entering into a dating space, especially amongst Christians that are looking for women that are ready to be found? If a woman has done her work and she's positioning herself in a dating situation, that means she's looking for her husband. She's not looking for just a situationship. She's looking to be found as a wife. And if you're a man and you're entering into the dating space, but you're not ready for husband responsibility, you're not prepared to take care of anyone because you can barely take care of yourself, you are false presenting. You are a wolf in sheep's clothing. All women need to they need to be aware of you and beware of you. Okay. For sure. For sure. All right. So we love you here. We love you here. Don't forget to like this video. Give us some hearts. Give us some love. Okay. We need it. Go ahead and go on our YouTube and subscribe to the channel. That is all things Dr. Keisha, at Dr. Keisha, or ask Dr. Keisha. All right. I'm your relationship coach. I'm your soul coach, honey. Listen, we don't just stick to relationships. We stick to transformation. We stick to dealing with the mind, the will, and the emotion. It's about having that mindset shift that changes everything. Our outcome, it shows up in many different facets of life, and we're here to support you. So be blessed, be empowered. I love you. You are so welcome. And I'm looking forward to seeing y'all in the Ruth and Naomi challenge. Yay. Let's do it. Let's register. Let's be excited about it. Let's push it so we can get as many folks as we possibly can. All the single ladies, come on here. All the single ladies, I'm looking forward for you being in that Zoom, because it's so much that we're going to share. I'm telling you, and it's going to be transformational. Our lives are going to be forever changed, and we're going to be ready to go. Okay. We're going to be ready to go, ready to be found, and we're going to attract the type of men that we deserve. Amen. Our Boaz. All right. So love you. Have a good night. Yes. We will see you soon. All right. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye. I am so excited, y'all. Y'all have no idea. I don't know why people do this to me, because they only spark something in me to want to fight. See y'all later. They only just be provoking me to do what I got to do. And that's this, to take it to the next level. That's it. And that's what we're about to do. Take it to the next level. All right. Be blessed. Until next time. All right.